Well, welcome to Women on Wealth. I'm Julina Ogilvie. This is episode 103. And today we're going to dive into, I think, one of the most emotionally complex, financially overlooked roles that many of us are likely to take on, which is caregiving. My guest is Shauna Sweeney. She's the founder and CEO of Tendercare. It's an AI-powered platform designed to simplify and support the journey of caring for our aging loved ones. So, Sean, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jelena. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited. I am, first of all, so impressed with what you have built, and I'm excited to talk about your platform. Can you first share your journey and your background as to how you came and inspired the creation of Tendercare?
I'd be happy to. I think the seeds for Tendercare really started 14 years ago when I was working in big tech. I was at Facebook at the time. And if you can believe it, this is dating myself, but this was during the shift to mobile. And we were still really trying to understand how these things were going to fit into our lives. And at that point, my main job was to explain how culture and commerce and business was changing through smartphones. At this point, it was very exciting. As a technology company, we were hitting milestones that no company had ever hit before. 1 billion users on the platform. You're talking about scale that just, quite frankly, did not exist up until this
Sure.
point.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my father, Mike, who raised me as a single parent back in Northern California, just a phenomenal human being. He, unfortunately, in one of his annual physical exams, because he was a San Francisco bar pilot, one of the captains who brings the biggest cargo ships in and out of the bay,
Ooh.
um, he had a test that came back with some sort of prompting for more tests, which is never a great sign as a family. What this ultimately resulted in was a diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's,
Oh,
and our whole world changed at that point. I was living on a different coast from my dad. All I knew was this was going to be my opportunity to lean in and repay the favor of what an incredible father he had been for me.
wow.
And I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't really know what Alzheimer's was, but what I knew was we were going to do this together. That was 14 years ago. And I very quickly understood this is really hard when you are actively in the workforce. You're highly motivated, whether it's on the following side of a diagnosis or just quite simply, you've got a grandparent or a spouse who's getting older and requiring more help from you. There's not a great playbook for this.
No.
And there's a lot that makes this very complicated because of the way we all live our lives today, which is largely both in person and online. And
Right.
there's all kinds of things that then kind of create a little bit of a complexity around how we can lean in to support one another.
Yeah.
Anyways, fast forward, I started a community inside of Facebook at the time, one of the first of its kind, which was around care. We called it Caregivers at and aging parents. And what started as only a few people quickly ballooned to about 4,000 of us. And granted, Facebook was very small at this
Holy
time.
cow. And when you
Very
say
small.
within Facebook, meaning like employees of Facebook or
Employees
wow.
of, yeah, I was just like, oh, let's build some community around this experience. It feels like a weird territory to be entering into. There's not a ton that's out there that feels really trustworthy about what to
Yeah.
do. And it feels like very high stakes when it comes to my dad's finances, his real estate, his healthcare decisions. I quickly realized there was just this huge community of those like me. I was very much not alone in this journey with my dad. And I became the de facto moderator for this community. All the
Wow.
questions that were coming up, all of the frustrations, I wanted to help. I wanted to do more than, just empathize with
Yeah.
those that were sharing their stories. And
Mhm.
so, about 3 years ago, I took the bold leap to leave big tech and really go out and build what is now Tendercare in earnest, which was the sort of summation of
Mhm.
so much of the frustrations of what I heard from this incredible community of what didn't exist yet out in the world.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go out and build it, as so many of us do when we see a problem. You just, if no one else is going to fix it, sometimes you got to roll up your sleeves and dive in.
It's so fascinating. Well, kudos to you for leaning in and, and supporting your father. And it's amazing what this journey has created for you, and your tech background makes complete sense as you begin to describe what tender care is. So can you describe in a couple sentences? It's not easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, one of the things I'll start with the fact that this is a universal phase of life. This is not new. We have all leaned in to take care of those we love when they get sick or when they get old. It's part of what makes us human. We've done this for thousands of years. What is new is the digital surfaces that we all live on.
Hmm.
The modern adult has over 100 usernames and passwords associated with them by the time they get to about 65.
Yeah.
And so we now have all kinds of new precautions, protocols, two-factor authentication that really complicate our ability to lean in and take care of one another, specifically when we think about combining what happens in real life with the lives we live online. And so, if I were to describe Tender Care and what we ultimately do in two sentences, we are a platform that meets anyone where they are in the experience of taking care of a loved one that is aging or on the other side of a diagnosis with smart tools that prepare you, educate you, and empower you to do many of the main jobs that you will be called on to do over and over again. This is preparing for doctor's visits. This is organizing and ingesting all of the most important information about your loved one into a way that actually makes sense and helps you understand what you're missing and what you need to do next. And then actually helps remind you of all of the ongoing duties and responsibilities that are associated with caring for another family member. So making sure to renew that health insurance policy, making sure to get all of those vaccinations in place and your annual visits every year, the dentist appointment, all of the many thousands of things that can slip through the cracks over a given year as we're all trying to take care of our own families, ourselves in this mix. Tender care is really that supportive layer for anyone that feels entirely personalized for them and is with them every step of the way along
Oh,
this journey.
that's great. And I'm thinking back to your story about being across the coast when your dad was diagnosed. So this is really meant to help families, whether they're near or far from their loved ones, because how many of us are trying to care for a loved one and we don't live in the same geographical area as them.
Exactly. And that could even be because we're at work. You
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be in the same residence, but most of our time now, especially with return to office, is
yeah,
spent in different locations. So how do you create that layer of care for someone else while you may or may not need to rely on others or tech to be able to do some of that work while you might not physically be present?
got it. And Shauna, you've described this as the first AI-powered smart care system for family caregivers. Can you describe how this works to enhance that care a little bit more?
Absolutely. I mean, we're living in such an exciting moment in time in which, these don't come along often, where you have a whole new set of innovative tools that can be applied to old problems. That's really what we're looking at
Mm,
here right
yep.
now. And one of the ways that we were so excited to apply AI to this experience is for two reasons. One, part of the hardest part of caregiving right now is because you are ingesting a tremendous amount of information and data that you may or may not have training against in trying to think about what the best next thing is to do for your loved one. One of the ways we use AI, for example, is against Medicare information. So
Mm,
anytime you are over the age of 65, you have a whole database of your primary care to specialist physicians, your emergency room visits, your medications, your allergies, you name it. When you actually look at all this information, it's quite overwhelming
Oh,
inside of the
of
Medicare
course.
database.
Yeah.
This is not immediately useful to the regular person who's got maybe 5 minutes to try and think about how they're going to use that towards helping deliver care to mom or dad.
Hmm.
What we do is not only do we make it so easy for you to ingest all of your loved one's Medicare information into the platform, but then we quickly go through all of that information and flag the most important things for you to be able to provide great care. So,
Mm.
for instance, if we see that there are multiple physicians who are prescribing different medications that actually have known contraindications or complexities of taking them at the same time, we'll immediately alert you to that.
Wow.
Um, if we see, for instance, that there are real allergy warnings against some of the medications, we want to make that plain language for you.
Yes.
Um, it's about avoiding red sauce. These are not the types of things that you'll see in the Medicare database today. What
Yep.
we do is we create a translation layer on the top of that to make this very practical and easy for anyone to immediately understand. Here are the best things that I can do to improve care for my mom or my dad.
That's amazing. So it integrates with Medicare.
Yes.
Can you give other examples of what else you integrate with?
Yeah. So we are very lucky in that we have a number of different partners. We have partnerships with CVS Health. So for instance, if you are finding that you are looking for an appointment, mom's got some symptoms that you're kind of worried about, and you're looking for an appointment with her primary care physician. We've all been there where you call and the next appointment is in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's not helpful,
No.
especially if you're really worried and you want to get her seen, within the next 24 hours. So we actually partner with being able to surface and identify in mom's local area where is there an urgent care clinic in which she can be seen in the next couple of hours, even
Mm.
be able to immediately get attention to whatever it is that you're concerned about.
Okay.
We also have integrations with a number of different databases that give you access to community resources in mom's
Okay.
area.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize that there are so many free programs and supports that are right there for transportation, for access to social classes and
Yeah.
training or adult day facilities, all covered, by the
Mm.
way. We immediately surface a number of those resources for you so that you don't have to go searching for them. You already have a list that's
Wow.
delivered straight to your inbox.
I love that. We all live in such great communities, and sometimes we just don't know about our surroundings. So
I mean, and why would we? We're so busy.
I know. Yeah.
The
And
idea isn't for us to become experts on this. The idea is for us to use that energy towards being present with each other.
yes.
So we're ultimately trying to take a lot of the legwork and the research out of this process for everyone.
Yeah, that's why I love this so much because I can't tell you how many people you talk to that, up to your point, you love your loved one, you want to help them, but you're struggling with your own day-to-day challenges, whether it's work, family, and anything else. So
Exactly.
amazing. So what were some of the biggest challenges in building this platform? This sounds incredibly challenging.
Oh man, it is a labor of love. So many of us who work at Tendercare are active care, family caregivers ourselves. So we're either actively taking care of someone or we have in our
Yeah.
past. And so we're highly motivated to climb the mountain
Hmm.
of what can often be, a number of and try again efforts.
Yeah.
I think part of what makes this challenging is twofold. One, a lot of the complexities of family caregiving today are because of the fragmentation and like the sort of the coverage area of what is
Mm.
required to give care. You're not just talking about healthcare. You're talking about, financial health. You're talking about day-to-day responsibilities like groceries and, sundry goods or the handyman. I mean, these are not things that fit easily into one category. And
Right.
so what makes that challenging is how do you redefine this body of work in a way that makes sense and you can create simplicity around when you're starting from a place where it's so widespread.
Mm,
The second piece that makes this challenging is that um, you are often dealing with very sensitive information. When we're talking about financial information, when you're talking about, health information, this is highly regulated territories. And so when you're just starting out and looking to add value, especially from an innovator's perspective, there are a lot of like very necessary hoops to be able to jump through to
mm,
ensure that that information is highly protected when you're thinking about offering this to the public.
right.
And so really spending time making sure that we're putting in the right infrastructure in place. For
Okay.
instance, we're HIPAA compliant, right? Not many startups are.
Yeah.
These were really important and necessary parts of our journey that often take, 6, 7 months. These
Mm,
are these are not fast turnarounds.
yeah.
So I would say a lot of upfront work to ensure that we can cover off on the simple stuff.
I love this. And Shauna, give the listeners an idea of what do you see when you click on the app?
Mm. So the idea is that Tendercare is built just for you. When you click on the app, you are asked a number of questions of like, what are your key goals? What information do you currently have? Are you taking care of just mom? Are you taking care of multiple, as many people who are on the Tender Care platform are?
Mm,
Um, Really starting to understand your particular unique journey, and then immediately starting to help think through what are the best next steps for you. You might be incredibly busy. You only have 5 minutes, maybe even in a week. Maybe you want to get everything done in an hour and a half, and then you want it to just be ready to go for you. We
right.
want to understand all of this about you before we then very quickly serve up a number of steps that we recommend you should take. These are based off of a number of experts that we have, both inside of the team and part of our extended network, financial advisors, geriatric care managers, really assembling a very particular profile for you and your family for things that are going to measurably improve your experience, both present and in the future. So you're going to see on the other side of that a very easy step-by-step care plan for things that you should now do next when you have the time. This
Mm,
might be as simple as upload your durable power of attorney for
right.
mom,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
Something that you definitely are going to come into contact with if you are caring for a loved one at some point in this
right.
journey. It might be as simple as take a photo of all of mom's pill bottles in her pill cabinet, and we're going to very quickly sort through which ones are expired, which ones are live.
Wow.
What do we want to summarize, and what's in plain language, what these medications are actually for.
All from a
Depending
picture.
on the answers to those early upfront questions, everyone ends up with a different list that then helps by the time they leave that first visit feel a little bit more empowered with
Okay.
where they currently stand.
That's amazing. So, so where are you present today and what are the plans for growth?
So we have thousands of families who are currently on our platform. We are available on the App Store today, so you can go ahead and download Tender Care. We're there and available. We are in all 50 states. We have 230,000 different resources and service providers based off of zip code across the country for anyone. And one of the things that we're most excited about right now is going state by state and even inside of state, market by market, and really going deep with all of the existing communities, services, programs that are available for families and
Mm,
making sure that we have like a whole trusted tier on top of all of those other services I just mentioned that are available to anyone, whether you happen to live in the same location as the person that you are taking care of or not, that are very quickly available to you. So while we're nationwide, we are going even deeper,
mm.
starting with both New York, Connecticut, and California, and then very quickly by the end of the year, rolling out everywhere in between.
Wow. By the end of the year.
Hmm.
Okay. And we're in the middle of June.
Are.
And maybe this is the right time to say you have a big, what's the right way to say this? Your family is growing in the next 48 hours, correct?
That's true. We are going to be welcoming a fourth kid into the mix in my own household in about 48 hours, which is
Wow.
both terrifying and very exciting all at
Yeah.
the same time. Yeah.
So exciting. Oh, well, you are a super busy lady. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So, let me ask about the financial pressure. Let's because this is something that caregivers struggle with, and they often underestimate and or overlook it in general, right?
I mean, it's cataclysmic. This was one of the main motivators of what really pulled me into working in this space was just understanding the financial stakes of what it really means to raise your hand, to
Hmm.
take care of someone else in your family. There is a huge number of shocks that are often waiting for a family caregiver on the other side of signing up for this journey. Most of us assume that this will be care that's covered by mom or dad's insurance, by Medicare, by Medicaid. Much of what is required to care for a loved one is not. It is
Mm,
out of pocket, which is a pretty tough and brutal reality to
yeah,
experience on the other side for a regular family. I mean, you are looking at on average, if you were to bring in 24-hour care, and this is on average too, across the country for your loved one out of pocket. Most of this is out of pocket. That's on average about $290,000 per year.
it's
That
unbelievable.
is not something that the regular family can afford.
No.
Even assisted living on average is about $100,000 on average per year. And when you're talking about sometimes 10, 11, 12 years of being in an assisted living facility, this is a big financial conversation for many
Absolutely.
families
Yeah. Yeah.
out of pocket, right? And
Yeah.
so, one of my motivations was to really make sure that as many families as possible could understand what their options are early. Many people have not heard of long-term care insurance, for instance. These are really fantastic plans that, if you can get coverage early enough or have the conversation early enough, can make a huge difference for a family in what they need to cover or what they afford. On just personally for my own family, we really got lucky because my dad was a ship captain. He was one of the in a unique position to be covered by a pension still, which has been fantastic for my family because almost his entire pension goes towards his care today. Very proud to still be his family caregiver. But if we didn't have that, we would be in a fairly devastating scenario. I don't think there would have been any possibility for me choosing to go out and innovate and build tools for other caregivers. And that's a reality that the 54 million other caregivers out in the country often have to face, which is how am I going to afford mom or dad's care and still pay for
Hmm.
my kids' summer camp
Yeah.
and still hold on to my job? Is a very difficult crossroads to take. And so, the more we can empower the person who's about to start this journey with the right financial decisions and options, the better a family will be in the long run for being able to navigate all of this and really take advantage of what's available to them.
It's such a powerful comment that you just made because, we talk about financial planning all the time with clients or whomever, that it's so important, not just for if you get divorced or you lose a spouse or you just don't want to run out of money, but we talk to so many individuals that say, "Hey, I don't want to be a burden on my kids."
Mm.
And this is a great example of how quickly that can just turn on a family. And so the planning is so crucial as early as possible,
Oh, it's
right?
essential. It's essential. And certainly, in the case of my family, where my father's living with Alzheimer's, you are often looking at 80% out of pocket expenses for that household on the other
Mm,
side of a diagnosis we can't control,
right.
right? And that can be devastating for your kids if you haven't put protections in place in
Yeah,
advance.
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Can you talk about your partnerships that you have built? You've done it across financial, legal, healthcare sectors. What role do you see? Well, explain that first if you can.
Mean, caregiving is complex. This doesn't fit within one industry. I think
Yeah.
that's what has made this so challenging is that within existing systems, it's so much bigger and more far-ranging for a family in terms of
Mhm.
the sets of responsibilities. And so we knew from the very beginning that if we were going to make real change, we were going to have to, one, category create and redefine this body of work, because the current definitions and working models just don't suffice.
Yeah.
And then second, we were going to have to go out together, existing institutions, and really ensure that we are thinking from an sort of an every organization mindset as opposed to really coming in and trying to disrupt on our own. That was never the philosophy. And so
Okay.
we're really lucky to have some incredible partners alongside us and thinking about this change and building tools within this environment. I've mentioned Medicare. They've been a fantastic partner for us and really thinking through how do we use a lot of this health information. The Alzheimer's Association, close to my heart personally, but
Mhm.
has incredible reach to getting out into the community, has been a tremendous thought partner for us on how do we serve this community more effectively across the country.
Yeah.
CVS Health has been amazing, for a number of different reasons, but really providing so much support and also just real insights on what is happening across the country for those of us who are 65 and up. And then how do we think about distribution through partners like Oak Street Health? They serve exclusively 65 and up across the country, and really using those partnerships to get the word out about the technology we're building. How can we invite family members to be an active part of this process, as opposed to what so often happens is kind of catching the ball on the other side when, it's already to a point where there's not a lot of time left or decision making that can be done as a team.
Mm.
So really thinking about this from building infrastructure first with a
Yeah.
lot of these larger entities who have already done so much to support the community.
That's amazing. And you have said that the caregivers often don't know where to start and turn to. What'd you call it? Doom scrolling? Have I heard?
That's right. Doom scrolling. We've all been there, 3 in the morning, right? And looking up things and seeing all kinds of like terrible and scary things on the internet. Right?
Mhm.
This is a big part of really dreading the experience of not knowing where to turn
Yeah.
or what to do. Mom has just ended up in the ER. She's fallen and she's broken her hip and she's about to get discharged, and what does this mean, and can we afford it, and who do I trust to bring into the home to care for her, because I'm gonna have to go to my work
Yeah.
and I can't be home all the time. This is a key piece of, I think, why it's so scary for families, because of not knowing what to search for and
Mhm.
also just getting a whole bunch of potentially untrustworthy information
Exactly. Yeah.
back on the internet. One of the key insights of what we've been building for is like, how do you create a much safer, much more trusted platform for someone to be led through baby steps on
Yeah.
this journey? You don't need to tackle it all at once.
Correct.
You want to feel like you're actually in expert hands and that the information that you're being served up is verified
Yeah.
and it's expert approved, and that you don't need to tackle it all in one day. You can take like very small steps towards
Mhm.
progress. One of the biggest things that we tell many of those who are on our platform is, Rome wasn't built in a day, and getting all of this done won't be either. And
Mhm.
it's okay if you just take a little bit of time to do a small incremental, whether that's, hey, we're going to go and we're going to automate all of mom's prescriptions, so that they're shipped to her house. So, she doesn't have to now find a way to get into the
Right.
pharmacy. Or we're going to change her prescriptions from 30 days to 90-day supply. So that way, you've just taken out a huge headache of
Mhm.
trying to go in and spend some time on this. Or, you know what? Today, you're not going to do a ton. Today, you are just going to take a moment to get some self-care and encouragement from the community of other caregivers on the platform and refuel before you go back into it again the next week, because this was a rough week, and it could be because your kid cut all their hair off and ended up, getting in a fight at camp, or it could be because you had a particularly hard day at work. those things don't stop, and it's
No?
okay to take space before you go at this again and you've got a little more energy in the tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Shauna, what is the cost to use the app?
Tendercare is almost entirely free. It was part
Wow.
of our mission. We wanted to make Tendercare a platform that was available to any family. So many of the tools and features that I've mentioned, in fact, I think almost exclusively all of them, are free to anyone who
Wow.
wants to download us on the platform. We have a very transparent way that our business model works. Essentially, we offer all of this for free in exchange for what we call our trusted services network on the other side. And what that looks like is an effort we are essentially going out into communities with, which is to find the best in class small businesses, providers of care who are doing incredible work for families. This could be
Mm,
elder law attorneys or adult day centers or geriatric care managers. Many people you probably have never heard the names of before who are out there actively servicing families at the
mm,
moment in which you really do need their help. And what we do on the tender care side is spend time making sure we know who the best of the best are in that
okay.
community and then really auditing them, looking through background checks and their licensing and their, past customer testimonials. And then when they are approved on our platform, giving them membership to be a part of that with us and part of this mission that we're on in
Mm,
paving the way for all the families that we can offer these services for free. So it's very transparent and it's a world we believe needs to exist. It's why we got into this work. And it means that everything is almost entirely free. The only place where we currently charge a family for is if, for instance, there's just a massive amount of storage. So let's say there's not just the regular amount of health records, but you want to bring, 10 filing cabinets of past tax returns um, and all of mom's paperwork and paper mail from the last 10 years, then we charge a small fee for storage of that.
okay.
Or if you're caring for, more than two people and you want to start using multiple accounts, then we have a small charge for that, and that's on a monthly or an annual basis.
Okay. That's great. Shauna, it's so impressive. It's amazing to hear your personal story about your father. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
amazing to see how you not only did you lean in, but you are creating this new opportunity for thousands. I mean, the potential of this going forward is unbelievable. So, it's
Oh,
exciting.
I so appreciate it. I think, just the advice there is you know the problems that present themselves to you. We all see them in our day-to-day lives. And
Mhm.
the question always I think you have to ask yourself is this the problem I'm being called to solve? Is this my problem? And in this particular case, this one was just hitting me over the head as
Mhm.
one that deserved more attention and also brought, I think, honor to my dad in my story and
Yeah,
gave us a sense of purpose for using a lot of what we've learned and turning it around and helping others.
for sure, for sure. And where can people go to learn more, download the app, keep
Well, you can just go straight to the App Store and go to Tender Care for Families. We're totally free. Download us, or you can go and learn much more about us at trytendercare.com.
trytendercare.com.
That's right.
Okay. And I will include the link in the show notes.
Fantastic.
Shauna, all the best to you and your family.
Oh, thank you. Thank
And
you,
I
Julina.
can't,
I need it.
yeah. Well, I know you were saying how you were feeling before we jumped on the podcast, but you look fabulous. You're glowing, and
It's very kind.
I can't wait to hear how it's going, especially towards your end with your growth effort.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it, and definitely keep checking back. We're launching new features all the time. We're so excited about so much that's coming out. About to launch a mobile web version of Tendercare.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of new tools and new places to be able to get value from us. So absolutely follow along for the journey. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Come be part of our community. And also, if you have ideas for how to make our features and our platforms even better, our whole team is on always listening to users. We have a whole bunch of places where you can drop ideas for us
Great.
where we can actually build the things that you want.
I love it. That's
Cool.
great, Shauna. Congratulations. All the
Thanks,
best.
Julina. Really appreciate it.